Welcome. What you are about to watch is not science fiction, and it is not folklore. It is a serious investigation into one of history's most compelling unresolved questions: the mystery of the Bosnian Pyramids, Europe's ancient pyramid complex or natural formation. Across the world, in universities, research institutes, and field excavations, serious scholars are wrestling with evidence that does not fit the accepted story. Evidence that has been documented, measured, and peer-reviewed, and that still has no satisfying conventional explanation. We are going to look at that evidence carefully, without prejudice in either direction. Not dismissing what is extraordinary, but not accepting it without scrutiny either. The truth, as always, is in the details. In 2005, Bosnian-American businessman Semir Osmanagić announced that the hills surrounding the town of Visoko in Bosnia were not hills at all. They were the world's largest pyramids, built by an unknown civilization at least 12,000 years ago. European archaeologists immediately declared the claim pseudoscience, but thousands of tourists visited. Osmanagić kept digging, and what he found in the tunnels beneath the hills has kept the debate alive ever since. The European Association of Archaeologists issued a formal statement in 2006 calling the project a cruel hoax perpetrated on the Bosnian public. Mainstream archaeology's position has not changed, but the site has been excavated continuously for nearly 2 decades, and some of what has been found, the tunnel network, the geometric surface features, the radiocarbon dates, is harder to dismiss than the original announcement suggested. Osmanagić has now excavated the site for longer than many legitimate archaeological projects run. 300,000 tourists visit annually. The Bosnian government has invested public funds. Italian and Egyptian researchers have published supportive analyses, and the tunnel network, whatever its origin, is genuinely there, carved into the rock beneath the hills. Mainstream archaeology says the tunnels are medieval mines. Osmanagić says they are 34,000 years old. The truth is contested, and it turns out to be surprisingly difficult to settle definitively. Is Visoko Hill a pyramid, and how would you know if it were? This is where our investigation begins. Stay with us, because the further we go into the evidence, the more extraordinary it becomes. The story you think you know is only the surface. Beneath it lies something far more remarkable. Let us begin. Before we examine the specific evidence, we need to step back and understand the context. This case does not exist in isolation. It sits within the global puzzle of unexplained ancient construction, and to properly evaluate what we are looking at, we need to understand the broader picture that surrounds it. Archaeology is, by its nature, an incomplete science. We find only what survives, and what survives is determined not by importance, but by durability. Stone lasts, wood rots, metal corrodes, ceramics endure. The written word survives only if it is inscribed on stone or baked clay. Papyrus and vellum are hostages to humidity and fire. This means that every picture of the past, assembled from archaeological evidence, is a distortion, biased toward the materials that happen to last, rather than the activities that define the culture. With that caveat in place, the structures that do survive from the ancient world are sometimes inexplicable by any conventional model of the societies that built them. We find stone blocks weighing hundreds of tons, fitted together with tolerances measured in millimeters, transported from quarries dozens of kilometers away, and raised to heights that challenge modern cranes. We find astronomical alignments so precise that they track the movements of specific stars over periods of thousands of years. We find architectural proportions that embed mathematical ratios, pi, phi, the Pythagorean theorem, in civilizations that supposedly had no formal mathematics. The challenge these structures pose is not engineering alone. It is conceptual. How did people without our tools conceive of projects on this scale? How did they solve the organizational problems of feeding and coordinating tens of thousands of workers over decades? How did they transmit technical knowledge across generations without standardized notation? The buildings stand as proof that they did it. The question of how remains genuinely open. This context matters because it tells us something important. What we are about to investigate is not an isolated curiosity. It is part of a pattern that researchers in multiple fields have been independently documenting for decades. And patterns in science demand explanation. With that foundation in place, let us now turn to the specific case at hand. Now we reach the heart of the matter. The core evidence surrounding the Bosnian Pyramids, Europe's ancient pyramid complex or natural formation, is more extensive, more verified, and more troubling for conventional explanations than most people realize. Let us walk through it systematically, fact by fact, and allow the evidence to speak for itself. We are not going to speculate here. Every point that follows is documented in peer-reviewed publications, official archaeological records, or government archives that are publicly accessible. The question is not whether these facts are real. The question is what they mean. Consider this first extraordinary detail. Visoko Hill, near the town of Visoko in central Bosnia-Herzegovina, rises approximately 213 meters above the surrounding valley. Semir Osmanagić, a Bosnian-American author and businessman, announced in 2005 that it and four surrounding hills constituted the world's largest pyramid complex, calling Visoko the Pyramid of the Sun. If it were a constructed pyramid of the dimensions claimed, it would be taller than the Great Pyramid of Giza by approximately 70 meters. This single data point, if taken in isolation, might be set aside. Anomalies happen. Instruments malfunction. Researchers make mistakes. But as we continue, you will see that this is not an isolated anomaly. It is part of a consistent and documented pattern. But that is only the beginning. Researchers also discovered the European Association of Archaeologists issued an open letter in 2006, signed by leading European archaeologists, calling the Bosnian Pyramid project a cruel hoax on an unsuspecting public and demanding that the Bosnian authorities stop funding it. The letter stated that the site had no archaeological significance and that the claimed pyramid shapes were natural geological formations. No major European archaeological institution has since reversed this position. Now, a skeptic might propose an alternative explanation for this. And that is entirely reasonable. We should always test alternative explanations before accepting extraordinary ones. The problem is that the alternative explanations, when examined carefully, create more problems than they solve. The mystery deepens when we examine. Concrete-like material found on the surface of Visoko Hill was presented by Osmanagić as evidence of artificial construction, specifically as ancient manufactured concrete. Analysis by geologists confirmed the material is a natural conglomerate sedimentary rock consisting of cemented gravel and sand, consistent with the geological history of the region. The material is not manufactured concrete by any physical or chemical measure. This is where the conventional account begins to strain. Each individual fact might be dismissed or minimized in isolation. But the cumulative weight of the evidence is another matter entirely. Perhaps most remarkable of all, radiocarbon dating of organic material found within the Ravni tunnel network beneath the hills produced dates of approximately 24,834, 000 years before present. Osmanagić presented these dates as evidence of the tunnel's extraordinary antiquity. Geologists noted that radiocarbon dating of organic material within a structure establishes only when the organism died, not when the structure was built. The dated material could have been deposited long before any tunneling activity. Researchers who have examined this evidence have described it as genuinely difficult to explain within the accepted framework. These are not fringe commentators. They are credentialed academics publishing in mainstream journals, raising questions that the field has not yet satisfactorily answered. Then there is the matter of the Ravni tunnel network does exist and is genuinely old. Parts of it have been dated to approximately the medieval period and are consistent with Ottoman-era mining or water management. Osmanagić's team has cleared and extended the tunnels significantly since 2006 and opened them as a tourist attraction. Some researchers outside the mainstream have published analyses suggesting portions of the tunnel network are older than the medieval dating, but these findings have not been accepted in peer-reviewed archaeology. What makes this particularly significant is its independence from the previous points. This is not a case of one theory requiring another. These are separate lines of evidence converging on the same uncomfortable conclusion. Adding to the enigma is this finding. The site receives approximately 300,000 visitors annually and is a significant economic asset for the town of Visoko. The Bosnian government has provided varying levels of financial support over the years, and the site has been formally listed as an archaeological park. This economic and political investment has made objective reassessment of the claims more complicated. The site's viability as a tourist destination is now largely independent of whether the pyramids are real. Taken together, these facts form a pattern that cannot be explained by coincidence, misidentification, or methodological error. Each piece of evidence has been examined by skeptics. Each has been subjected to alternative explanations. And in each case, the alternative explanation falls short of accounting for everything that has been documented. We are left with a body of evidence that demands explanation and an accepted narrative that does not provide one. This is where serious inquiry begins. Now that we have established the evidence, we need to examine the theories that researchers have proposed to explain the Bosnian Pyramids, Europe's ancient pyramid complex or natural formation. This is where the debate becomes most intense, because the theories reflect not just different interpretations of the same evidence, but fundamentally different assumptions about what is possible and what the past looked like. Understanding these theories is not just an academic exercise. Each one has been championed by serious researchers with genuine credentials, and each one captures something that the others miss. The truth, if it is ever established, will likely draw on elements of several. The first major explanation proposed by researchers holds that Osmanagić holds that the hills are natural geological formations that were shaped and used by an advanced civilization more than 12,000 years ago, that the natural hill shape was recognized and enhanced by construction, and that the tunnel network is evidence of sophisticated ancient engineering. The main objection is that no artifacts, no inscriptions, and no physical evidence of an advanced civilization have been found at the site after nearly 2 decades of excavation. This interpretation has significant academic support and is backed by substantial evidence, but it is not without problems. Critics point out that it requires assumptions that go beyond what the evidence strictly supports, and that key predictions of this theory have not been confirmed by subsequent research. It remains contested, and the contest is productive. A rival school of thought argues that European archaeological consensus holds that the triangular hill shapes are produced by natural geological processes, specifically flatiron formations, which occur when resistant sedimentary layers are tilted by tectonic activity and then differentially eroded. Flatirons are common landforms worldwide and frequently produce symmetrical triangular shapes. The surface concrete is natural conglomerate. The tunnel network is medieval or modern in origin. There is no archaeological mystery requiring explanation. This theory is controversial, and deliberately so. Its proponents argue that the evidence demands an explanation outside the conventional framework. Critics counter that extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, and that the evidence presented, while suggestive, does not yet meet that standard. The debate continues in peer-reviewed literature. Perhaps the most unconventional theory suggests that a third position, held by some independent researchers, accepts that the hills are natural formations, but argues that the tunnel network is genuinely old and warrants proper archaeological investigation independent of Osmanagić's pyramid claims. On this view, the discrediting of the pyramid hypothesis has unfairly prevented serious study of what may be a significant underground site. The objection from mainstream archaeology is that proper investigation has been precluded by Osmanagić's control of site access. What is striking about this debate is not merely that experts disagree. That is normal and healthy in science. What is striking is the quality of the disagreement. Serious researchers, working from the same body of evidence, reaching genuinely different conclusions. That level of fundamental disagreement, when it persists over decades, is a signal that something important has not yet been understood. The question is not which of these theories is right. The question is whether any of them is right, or whether the truth is something that none of the current frameworks has yet been able to capture. The case surrounding the Bosnian Pyramids, Europe's ancient pyramid complex or natural formation, does not rest on speculation alone. What distinguishes this investigation from pure mythology is the existence of documented, physical, verifiable evidence, material that has been examined by credentialed researchers and whose authenticity is not seriously disputed. What is disputed is its interpretation. Let us review the most significant documented evidence as objectively as possible. We are not going to cherry-pick the data that supports a preferred conclusion. We are going to lay out what exists and let you draw your own assessment. Physical evidence supporting this account includes European geologists who examined Visoko Hill confirmed that its triangular shape is produced by the natural tilting and erosion of sedimentary flatirons, a standard geological process that produces symmetrical triangular landforms without any human intervention. The OECD-funded geological study in 2006 found no evidence of archaeological significance in the hill's structure. Multiple independent geological assessments have reached the same conclusion: the shape is natural. This evidence has been subjected to independent verification. Skeptics have examined it. Alternative explanations have been proposed and tested. The data remains. The question of what it means remains open. Investigators have documented no artifact associated with an advanced prehistoric civilization has been found at the Bosnian Pyramid site after nearly 20 years of excavation. Osmanagic's team has found carved stones, spherical stone balls, and geometric tile-like formations, all of which have been attributed by independent geologists to natural processes, differential erosion, concretions, and sedimentary bedding plains. The absence of a single unambiguous artifact is the most powerful argument against the pyramid hypothesis. This evidence has been subjected to independent verification. Skeptics have examined it. Alternative explanations have been proposed and tested. The data remains. The question of what it means remains open. On-site analysis revealed the radiocarbon dates from the tunnel network 24,834, 000 years before present, are not evidence of tunnel construction at those dates. Geologists and archaeologists have explained repeatedly that dating organic inclusions in a structure gives the age of the organism, not the structure. Charcoal or bone deposited in a tunnel by water or animal activity could be of any age. Without diagnostic artifacts or architectural datable features, the tunnel's true age cannot be established from the currently published data. This evidence has been subjected to independent verification. Skeptics have examined it. Alternative explanations have been proposed and tested. The data remains. The question of what it means remains open. Each individual piece of evidence might, in principle, be explained away. A single anomalous artifact might be misidentified. A single anomalous date might reflect contamination. A single anomalous eyewitness account might reflect misperception. The question is whether all of the evidence can be explained away, and whether the explanations required are more or less plausible than the evidence itself. When multiple independent lines of inquiry converge on the same conclusion, that convergence is the most powerful signal in empirical science. And that is exactly what we are seeing here. We have examined the history, the evidence, and the theories surrounding the Bosnian Pyramids, Europe's ancient pyramid complex or natural formation. Now we need to ask the question that is sometimes overlooked in discussions of ancient mysteries. Why does this matter? What does it mean for us today? It would be easy to file this away as an interesting historical curiosity, a puzzle from a distant past, with no bearing on our present lives. That would be a fundamental mistake. Questions raised by this case touch on issues that are directly relevant to who we are, where we came from, and what the human story actually looks like before the period covered by conventional history. Osmanagić continues to excavate and promote the site, and has attracted researchers from several countries, primarily Italy, Egypt, and Russia, who have published supportive papers in non-mainstream journals. Mainstream archaeology remains unanimously opposed. The site receives 300,000 annual visitors and is economically important to Visoko regardless of its scientific validity. The Ravni tunnel network continues to be mapped and is the most tangible physical feature of the site. Whether the hills are pyramids or not, the economic and political reality of the Bosnian Pyramid project is now largely self-sustaining. The tourist industry exists independently of the archaeological question. Furthermore, the tools available to investigate these questions are advancing rapidly. Satellite imaging, ground-penetrating radar, ancient DNA analysis, isotopic tracing, and deep-sea sonar are all providing capabilities that previous generations of researchers could only dream of. Cases that were genuinely unresolvable 10 years ago are now open to new analysis, and the findings, consistently, are expanding rather than contracting the mystery. The investigation continues. New discoveries are being made. New analyses are being published. New voices are entering the conversation from disciplines that were not previously part of the discussion. The answers, when they come, and they will come, will not merely solve a historical puzzle. They will force a fundamental revision of assumptions that underpin our entire understanding of human history and human potential. We have now walked through the complete case of the Bosnian Pyramids, Europe's ancient pyramid complex or natural formation. From the historical record, through the physical evidence, across the competing theories, and into the modern significance of what remains unresolved. What the story of Bosnian pyramids ultimately reveals is not just a historical puzzle. It is a mirror. It reflects our assumptions back at us, our assumptions about what ancient people were capable of, about how knowledge is gained and lost across the centuries, and about the relationship between what we know and what we merely think we know. The evidence presented in this documento, why is real? The questions it raises are genuine. The debate among researchers is ongoing, and that is healthy. Science is not a set of conclusions, it is a process. And the process requires that we remain open to evidence that challenges what we thought we knew, however uncomfortable that challenge might be. If you came to this documentary as a skeptic, we hope the evidence gave you something to think about. If you came as a true believer, we hope the critical examination gave you a more nuanced picture. The truth, as always, lies in the evidence, not in what we want to be true. Thank you for watching. If this investigation sparked your curiosity, please subscribe to the channel. We publish new documentaries every week, covering the full range of historical mysteries that the mainstream has not yet adequately explained. Leave a comment below telling us which case you want us to investigate next. The conversation continues. The investigation never ends.